4 cars, 6 laps as chief starter. Gary Folk Jr. looks the field over. He's pointing over to turn number 4. And that's where we find Ray Robbins as the green flag's out. We are racing with the Pudgy's Pizza 4 cylinders. They go down into turn number 1. And on the brake, Brandon Amy takes that early race advantage, using that lower line to his advantage off turn number 2. He's out already to a 6-car length advantage over Frank Morris as they go down into turn number 3.
Well, Jeff Amy getting the nose of the 10X underneath Frank Morich over there in 3. So they're going to be side by side as they cross the stripe, but give the advantage back to Frank Morich. He has found himself, for the lion's share of this season, to be the meat in the old Amy sandwich with either the 10 or the 10X on either side of him. Frank picking up a win last Sunday at Chemung. It was a career first, and right now it's just about 2 feet, the distance he's able to hold off Jeff Amy.
Well, Brandon Amy is on cruise control right now. Jeff Amy takes a peek down the inside, side by side in turn 1. They work side by side through the turns, coming off of turn number 2. Jeff Amy down low. Frank Morris trying to battle back, but runs out of room up high. Breaks traction, then pulls in line with Jeff Amy. Now, early on, we saw some smoke out of the back of the 10X of Jeff Amy. A little bit of mosquito control, but nothing coming out of that car right now except speed as he's trying to catch up to his brother.
Well, he's got the latter half of this race in which to do it, and once he cleared Frank Morich, you can see the gap between the brothers Amy is getting a little bit narrower and narrower. Question is now this time by with 2 laps to go, and Mr. Lane slowing here on the front stretch. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to make it, and there's some smoke coming from the Lane machine, and we indeed are under caution. I was just going to ask if you can finance that deal, but I guess not. When you say purchase options, my mind goes elsewhere, and this time...
I know, plastic cards, I got it. Okay, down into turn number 1 with 2 laps remaining. They work off turn number 2, Brandon Amy pulling away from Jeff as they go down the backstretch, or it's the other way around. Jeff Amy got the better of Brandon on that restart, so Jeff Amy out front.
Hey, anything can happen, and this time by, they'll get the white flag from our starter, Gary Folk Jr. So right now, Randy and Mom are sitting over there on the backstretch watching their boys go at it here as Frank Morich sits in third.
Well, Brandon Amy has caught Jeff. Let's see what happens. Will there be fireworks between the brothers Amy as they come over into turn number 3 and 4? Jeff Amy sets the car, comes down. He's going to take the checker flag first. Jeff Amy with the win. Brandon in second, and Frank Morich in third.
So Buckley and Hanbury in row number 1. Wilbur and Shiner making up row number 2. Gary Folk making the decision, and the green is out. Top 6 ready to roll at least, and off turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Tony Hanbury will lead that 6-car parade into turn number 3, and off turn number 4 it's going to be Hanbury, Buckley, Wilbur, Zacharias, Shiner, and Ebersol. Not sure if Kyle's had any seat time in that car, but he's a pretty versatile driver. Takes a peek to the inside of Shiner. A little chrome horn application from John Wilbur to Jody Buckley as Jimmy Zacharias tries to get out in that outer groove.
We could call this Super Sportsman heat as they go out there really battling it side by side. Jimmy Zacharias undefeated in feature action here at the Speedway this year, running side by side with John Wilbur. Jimmy Zach, one of the few drivers that's able to make that outside groove work each and every time he tries it. He's up to third now. He's setting his sights on the second place car of Jody Buckley as it's single file off turn 2.
And once again, Wilbur looking at that battle of the chrome and the gold that we've seen here in recent weeks as Wilbur is trying to stay with Jimmy Zacharias, who's got a battle going on with Jody Buckley for second spot. Now, in recent weeks, we've seen that outside groove come in with the application of the material, and especially in the corners that enables the cars to stick. Zacharias committed to that outside, and this time by lap number 5 will go up on the scoreboard.
Tony Hanbury continues to hold on. He's got less than a tenth of a second advantage over the field, but now that advantage is going to stretch out as Jody Buckley had to lift just a little bit. He's got challenged to the high side. Jimmy Zacharias keeps taking a look upside. Now he turns down low. Zacharias got the car upset. Here comes Wilbur to the inside of Zacharias in turn 1. working over in turn number 2. They get it sorted back out single file as they come off the turn. Jimmy Zacharias taking a peek to the inside of Jody Buckley. Again, this time he's going to go on the high side. He's going to stay up high as the white flag will be shown to the field one more time around.
Well, Tony Hanbury pretty much has this one in command. The question right now is who's going to finish second? Jimmy tries to get a run off 2 on the low side, takes a peek upstairs, but Jody Buckley has got that lane really well guarded, and Jimmy's going to give it a go off the corner, but Hanbury picks up the win. Buckley, Zacharias, and Wilbur, nothing changed there. Ebersol finishing in 5th, then it's Tom Shiner. And our field approaching turn number 3. Again, Ray Robbins up there in 4, pointing to that starting area. Tyler Ripkema and Zach Curran mashing down the old gas pedal. And Matt Clemens sounding kind of sour there. Tyler Ripkema with the advantage going into turn number 3, and Zach Curran caught just a piece of Zach Curran, and he goes into the wall up there in turn number 4. And unfortunately for Zach, no foam blocks up there where he had contact with the wall.
And so for a restart, coming off of turn number 4, the green flag will fly. Remember, no laps have been completed. Jeff Frisbee will take that top spot on the break as the 9X of Matt Popcorn Clemens keeps it going over in turn number 2. Side by side for third down the backstretch as Darren Scherer takes it away from Dylan Terry. A couple of Binghamton boys going at it off of turn 4.
And Jeff Frisbee leading what is now lap number 1. We finally get underway. Popcorn Boy, a good name for Matt, bringing up the rear, kind of choking his way around. Darren Scherer eyeing up the back of the Tyler Ripkema machine to see where Tyler's running, so maybe he can go around on the outside or dive to the inside. Looks like Darren taking a peek to the outside at turn number 1. He's going to try and get a run off 2. And for now, he'll stay tucked in behind Ripkema. Nope, Darren's looking back out on the high side again as they come off turn number 4.
Single file down into turn number 1. Top 3 cars have broken away now from 4th place running Dylan Terry. Again, Dylan, a rookie in the Sportsman this year, learning open wheels. Your top 3 very strong drivers, however. Tyler Ripkema doing a great job in that 32 car. He also a rookie in the division. 3 rookies in this division here tonight, working off of turn number 2 down the backstretch. Only 2 of them running, however. Tyler's sister Michaela not running tonight. Kyle Ebersol running her car. Darren Scherer taking a peek to the high side of Tyler Ripkema. Not going to get it done that time, but Scherer stays right with it down in turn 1.
3 laps remain to settle the score here, and car number 3 trying to still take over position number 2. Ripkema has been a fast learner of the open wheel division, as Tom said. Got a lot of racing experience, but not in the open wheel class. So with 2 to go, what had been a battle for second may now become a battle for the top spot.
We can throw a blanket over those 3 cars right now. And with those 3 cars racing so hard, Dylan Terry is catching back up as the white flag flies on the field one more time around. It's Frisbee, followed by Ripkema over in turn number 1. Ripkema right on Frisbee's back bumper. To come off of turn number 2, Darren Scherer using the momentum of the track. He's trying to close down the backstretch.
Trying to close the deal, but it's all about turn number 4 right now. But for Jeff Frisbee, it's all about taking that checkered flag. Jeff picking up the heat win. Ripkema hanging on for second. Darren Scherer will be credited with third. Dylan Terry in 4th. Curtis Cowles coming around in 5th. Curtis, one of those guys who's just a all-out nice guy, supporter of racing in the Southern Tier. He'll show up from time to time as funds permit. And Matt Clemens, the cars held up and did finish.
Green flag flying for the late models. 8 laps is the distance. They go down to turn number 1. And Jerry Deneen looking to shake them whatever off his back. The monkeys and what other jungle animals you want to get on there. But boy, I'll tell you, he has been snake bit so far in the early portion of this year. Beautiful brand new Mustang down into turn number 1.
Well, as they pass by, I just love the sounds of these sleek late models. When they're humming, they're really humming. Lamoureux taking over second spot as Billy Coyle looks like he's slowing over there in turn number 3. Along comes Joe Brown, and he's going to take over third as Billy Coyle continues to fall back. Here comes the Nurmi, number 20, not able to take over fourth, but right now eyeing it up.
It was a good job of driving over there by Joe Brown. He had a head of steam going in there and could have gotten right into Billy Coyle's driver's door. Did not. He was able to turn down away from him, so a good job of driving by defending track champion Joe Brown. 3 laps are in the books. Jerry Deneen shows the way with Jim Lamoureux, and you know that big size 14-foot is flat on the floor pan.
Well, he's got the hammer down for sure, but so does Mr. Deneen. And as you mentioned, a brand new machine for him. It's a beauty out there on the racetrack. Most of these are, and they're beautiful to watch, beautiful to listen to, and everybody keeps their helmets not too tight. We'll have a good race here tonight.
Well, everybody wants to win it on the first lap. It can't be done. We're just past halfway. 5 laps now complete, and Jerry Deneen is still showing the way. That Shoe Faults towing machine doing a great job. But unfortunately, Deneen 4th in the points. He does have 1 heat race win this year, so he's looking for the second one of those, but he wants the trip to victory lane. He wants the hardware here tonight on Who's Your Daddy Night.
And this time by Gary Folk Jr. giving the 2 to go indication. 6 laps complete, 2 more remain. The gap between first and second is shrinking somewhat. However, the length of the race is also shrinking down to 2. And it's almost the same distance back to Joe Brown in third. So for now, coming around with 1 lap to go, looking pretty good for Mr. Deneen.
And that white flag does hit the air, and your leader's over in turn number 2 right now. He's going to come up on the Schneider 26 as he comes off of turn number 2 down the backstretch. They won. The Schneider 26 could determine the winner of this race. If they come off the turn, Deneen down low, Schneider's car right there, Lamoureux's coming, but Jerry Deneen picks up the win. Lamoureux finishes in second. Joe Brown will finish in third. Scott Nurmi finishes in fourth. Billy Coyle will finish in the 5th spot. Finishing in 6th will be the car number 99, Rick Smith, and then Dave Schneider will finish in 7th. So,
and our field picking up the pace over there in turn number 4, Brad Knapp and Joe Snell. And Brad Knapp, man, that's the sounding machine, I believe, and just not able to stay alongside the 11. And Brad getting into Jeff Goodwin over there, and also Robert Fink spinning. Looks like no real harm done to either, but Brad Knapp just getting into the side of Jeff Goodwin, and he was losing spots. So Jeff Goodwin will get turned around facing the right way, and Robert Fink right here in the 78. He will join also at the tail of the field.
So the field lining up, looking for another green flag from Chief Starter Gary Folk Jr. Here he comes. The green is out. We're underway once again. And it's the Snells taking it down to turn 1. Joe Snell in 11. Dusty in the 23. Joe Snell has that top spot as they work off turn number 2. Down the backstretch they run. And there's that number 1 car. That is Crazy George. He's up there into that 3rd spot as he's gotten around Jeff Goodwin. Crazy George looking to get around the Snells. He's got Goodwin on his back bumper. They go down to turn 1.
Well, a little bit of smoke visible from Dusty Snell in the 23. Actually, Jeff Goodwin restarting in the back. So he's right now on the back deck of that Swansboro car number 1. Dusty coming off one of his best finishes ever 2 weeks ago. The car actually had some fire displayed here at the start-finish line last week, and he continued on in that abbreviated race 2 weeks ago. So nothing has changed among the top 4.
Here comes Goodwin taking a peek to the inside of Swansboro over in turn number 3. Can't do it. He's backs on into the tire tracks. As they come off of turn number 4, Joe Snell holds on to that top spot. Dusty in second. George takes a look to the inside once again. Can't make it happen. But Jeff Goodwin's going to make something happen. He's going to try the high side of Crazy George. Nothing doing. Crazy George takes it back down the backstretch.
Well, you know, your car's either ready for that outside groove or it isn't. Behind in that next group, R.J. Zacharias is out in that outer groove as well. Dusty Snell, it looks like he gave some room to Swansboro, but he wasn't able to take over the spot, and Goodwin again will go back to work. So what we're seeing in Group 1, we're kind of seeing some of the same in Group number 2.
Seeing a black flag in Chief Starter Gary Folk Jr.'s hand, not exactly sure who's getting it. 23 of Dusty Snell, smoke coming out of the car, so black flag coming out for that. Meanwhile, Joe Snell continues to show the way. Jeff Goodwin has gotten around George Swansboro over in turn number 2. Looks like Swansboro threw the anchor out. Looks like he's slowed over there in turn number 3. As the parallel flags are up, the popsicle stick showing 2 laps to go. It's Joe Snell, followed by Jeff Goodwin, then George Swansboro, your top 3 cars, working off of turn number 2. Robert Fink there in the 4th spot. In 5th is the 59 of Chris Bennett.
Arfield coming around to the white flag. Gary Folk displaying that to Mr. Joe Snell, who has in his career run dirt, run the old Shangri-La, where he ran a B modified down there. Joining his sons now, having some fun out here in the street stock. And let's see if the old checker flag can wave over Joe Snell. I don't know if he realizes how close Goodwin is, but Joe Snell, it's been years, picking up the checker flag.
Wow. Goodwin made a race out of it, though. It came from the back up to just get nipped at the line by about a half a car length was all that the difference was. The field comes to life in turn number 4. Green flag flies, and we are underway as the field thunders down into turn number 1. Guy Summers has that inside lane kind of boggled up. Here comes over the outside lane is the one that's working. Charlie Sharpstein's dragging along. Chris Zacharias and Lee Sharpstein as they head down turn number 3. Chris Zacharias looks on the high side, cannot do it. He is the meat in the middle of a Sharpstein sandwich as they come off of turn 4.
Well, when you got multiple family members, that often is the case, and Chris is one of those drivers that will use that outer groove. He's trying to get a run off turn number 2 and keep the old 7 in front of the 8. Numerically, that is where they belong. And Zacharias, for now, free of the clutches of Lee Sharpstein, trying to make a move on the 34. He's to the outside, but the Sharpstein's right there, nose to tail, off turn number 2. You talk about throw a blanket over him. Well, if you've got a queen size, it might work right now.
Well, that blanket better be pretty big because they're going after it in turn number 4, looking to make it 3 wide, not going to quite do it. As Lee Sharpstein's looking for racing room, but Chris Zacharias has the lead at the line as they go down into turn number 1. Chris Zach with the top spot as he's trying to pull away from the Sharpstein brothers as they work off turn 2. Down the back, Lee Sharpstein, high-low switch into turn number 3. Lee Sharpstein down low, tries to keep it tucked down low. Great job by both drivers as they come off of turn 4.
Well, you know, last week there were multiple laps where, 2 weeks ago, where Chris Zacharias raced side by side with Charlie Sharpstein, and it brought back a lot of memories. People were commenting on some of the great racing at the old Shangri-La that went on for lap after lap after lap where the drivers didn't touch. Right now it's younger brother Lee Sharpstein who's doing battle with Chris Zacharias with now 3 laps to go. And Lee is inching, trying to get clearly out in front of Chris, but he is staying committed to that outer groove.
Lee Sharpstein continues to hold that top spot. He's held it for a lap and a half as they come off. Let's see if he can hold it for 2. Chris Zacharias battling back. Chrissy Zach has a very stout street stock program this year as he goes down in turn number 1 with the parallel flags out. Chris Zacharias there in the 2nd spot. In 3rd is Charlie Sharpstein. Gil Sharpstein in 4th. Guy Summers in 5th. Jake Snell in 6th. Danielle Buchek running in the 7th spot.
White flag this time by, and Lee Sharpstein, week in and week out, we hear about drivers looking at the back of that car as he's got a pretty powerful machine. He's leading now by about 5 car lengths off turn number 2, down the back straightaway. Gil trying to catch Charlie, and probably will run out of laps for that. But off turn number 4 for the final time, checkered flag going to Lee Sharpstein. Chris Zacharias finishing in 2nd, then it's Charlie and Gil in that order.
They come off turn number 4. And the green flag's out. And it's the dual intends down into turn number 1. Jeff Amy sweeping around the high side of Brandon. And Jeff Amy will go out to the lead over in turn number 2. Sportsman, start bringing them up online, please. Sportsman, let's bring them up online. Coming off, completing the first lap, will be the 10X of Jeff Amy. You can tell that's Jeff's car because it's got the smaller letters on it. Brandon's got the bigger letters. As they come off of turn number 2, Jeff continues to hold a 2-car length advantage over Brandon. Frank Morich is 10 car lengths behind in third. Nose to tail off of turn number 4. Everybody running down in that lower groove right now. Jeff Amy continues to hold on. Brandon closing in now with car number 10. Looks like it's taken Brandon a couple laps to get the speed up in that car. Now closes to within a car length as they go over into turn number 3. Brandon continues to look at the high side. Jeff's car looked like it wanted to wash up. Brandon down low. Going for the lead off turn number 4. Jeff Amy will hold on to it and does a little bit of a crossover move coming off of turn number 4, getting back down to protect that lower groove over in turn number 1. Jeff Amy washes up the speedway, opens the lower groove. Here comes Brandon down alongside, door handle to door handle into turn number 3, but Jeff Amy will pull away going down into turn 3. Working around the turn now, once again completing lap number 4. It is Jeff Amy, followed by Brandon Amy, followed by Frank Morich, are your 3 drivers. Pudgy's Pizza, with multiple locations sponsoring this division this year. The Pudgy Burger is their featured sub of the month. As they work off of turn number 4 this time, Gary Folk Jr. is waving at him, but he's waving at him with a purpose, showing him 5 laps to go. 5 laps. Jeff Amy continues to hold on to the top spot. I think it's going to be a brothers bragging rights duel here towards the end of this, because neither one of them is going to want to have a leg up on the other as they come off at turn number 4. Brandon Amy gets a good run coming off of turn number 4 each and every time. Jeff able just to be a little bit better out of turn number 2. They head down the backstretch once again. It'll be 7 laps in the books this time. Jeff Amy, Brandon Amy, and Frank Morich are your 3 cars. Brandon right on Jeff's back bumper again over in turn number 2 this time. Stays right with him. We'll keep him looked at down in turn number 3. As the 2 to go signal has been taken by your leader, Jeff Amy. Jeff is led from the drop of the green flag. He still leads over in turn number 2. White flag on the speedway. Jeff Amy takes the white flag. Brandon's trying to stay there on the high groove. This last lap, let's see who's got it as they come off of turn number 2. Brandon Amy stays up high, trying to use the momentum of the curve as he goes down the backstretch. They head down to turn number 3. Jeff Amy throws the block as he comes over into turn number 4. Coming off the turn, Jeff and Brandon is going to be at the line. Jeff Amy with the win. Brandon finishing in second, with Frank Morich finishing in third. Who's your victory lane and who's your daddy night? As Jeff Amy is out of the car, race fans, let him hear it. Jeff Amy, a 3-time feature winner.
What we got is some brotherly love going on here. You guys got a thing going here. It's like, who's going to win? Mom and Dad, perfect in victory lane. It's just a question of which son's going to be here this year. But your car was smoking a lot. I understand it's not a major issue, and you got a week off now to try and straighten that out.
Yeah, I'm having problems, but we will fix it. And, well, he collected Mother's Day. I had to get Father's Day.
Well, that's great. You guys put on a great race. You know, Frank was right there behind you, but you guys were going at it. I think the lead swapped several times around the track. But he got into you a little bit here with 1 to go.
That's all right. That's brotherly love. Gotta love it.
Well, you know, you got 3 victory lane speeches to his 2, and I know you got your dad and others that you want to thank. What are you doing with that checkered flag? You got to earn your own.
Hey, I'm giving it to my brother.
Okay, he's giving it to his brother.
It's awesome. I'd like to thank me, myself, and I, America's Tree Service, LM Music, my family, my brothers. Who else do I got here? Bring Your Skin, Corey Jones's Car Wash. Thank you, guys. Plan on being back.
Well, let's hope so. Let's bring Dad Randy up here. He's head wrench on both of these machines. And Mom, she got her Mother's Day win. Randy, these guys are keeping you busy.
Very.
Very. You're a man of few words. Jeff Amy, our winner tonight.
It is Jody Buckley and Tyler Ripkema leading the field to Gary Folk Jr.'s green flag. The green flag is out, and they drag race down into turn number 1. Buckley down low, Ripkema up high. Ripkema getting a push from John Wilbur. Buckley getting a push from Tony Hanbury, and now things start to separate out a little bit. Whoa, big, huge hit in the caboose by Hanbury on the 20 of Buckley as he goes up the track. Tyler Ripkema way up out of the racing group. Gets himself gathered back up, but he lost about 10 spots.
Well, he did, and the gainer in that one, the benefactor of all that, was Jody Buckley, as right behind him, the guys that had a little issue 2 weeks ago at the end of the race after putting on some great side-by-side racing, referring, of course, to Tony Hanbury and Jimmy Zacharias, right now running second and third. Jimmy taking a peek to the outside, now looks to the inside off turn number 2 and down the back straightaway.
If I was a thought inside John Wilbur's head, I would be thinking, even running back here fourth, I'm looking at the back end of that 71. As they go down to complete yet another lap, we've got 3 laps now in the books. Your race leader is the 20 of Jody Buckley from the drop of the green flag. Hanbury in second, Jimmy Z in third, John Wilbur in fourth. Then Kyle Ebersol fifth, Darren Sharon sixth. Those are the cars that have broken away from the first pack.
Well, that half dozen at the top of the field here, looking mighty racy as Tony Hanbury finds the opening underneath Jody Buckley. He's got the race lead down the back straightaway, and he has brought Jimmy Zacharias right along with him. And here comes the crawl machine of John Wilbur. So that quick, Jody Buckley, and he's getting turned around by Kyle Ebersol. And both of them spin here, and Ebersol getting slammed by Tyler Ripkema. Now look at the damage to the left front of Ripkema. Caution was out. Tyler just not slowing down. Tom Shiner, a victim of this incident as well.
Yeah, Tom Shiner and Tyler Ripkema were running together back there, and coming off the turn, Darren Scherer also in the outside wall. So I think some drivers were thinking that the Buckley Ebersol incident were going to come back up the track. They got down there on the asphalt where it held them down there. But boy, Tyler Ripkema, hard contact with the Kyle Ebersol machine down there. Those are team cars, but a tough break for Tyler Ripkema and Kyle Ebersol. So the white flag has been displayed to the field. We're going to restart with the 31 of Tony Hanbury on the point as they come to the green flag.
And Hanbury leads the way into turn number 1 with the Jimmy Zacharias, number 71, right up alongside John Wilbur, opting right now to follow Hanbury's tire tracks. And maybe that wasn't quite the best decision. And caution coming out on the racetrack. And once again, we'll try to get lap number 5 recorded. And that fast duo going into turn number 1, certainly a way better start in the eyes of Gary Folk and certainly the eyes of the fans. And right now it's looking pretty good for the 31 of Tony Hanbury. Right behind him again, it's John Wilbur staying in the low groove while Jimmy Zacharias looks topside. Hanbury will lead lap number 5.
They head down towards turn number 1. John Wilbur looking for racing room. It looks like he could be faster than those lead cars. He gets by Jimmy Zacharias, giving Hanbury a push down into turn number 3. Wilbur up to second. Here comes Jimmy Zach back around the high side. Wilbur down low. Side by side for second as they come off the line. It's going to be Wilbur in second, Zach back in third. The leader is Hanbury over in turn 2.
Dylan Terry right now hanging on to position number 4. John Wilbur takes a peek to the inside of Hanbury. Not anything going on there right now while Jimmy Zacharias takes his race program upstairs. And he's going to run on that outer groove one more time, but as lap 7 goes up on the board, we still have a 3-way battle for the top spot.
They work off turn number 2 down the backstretch. They run. Tony Hanbury with a 2-car length advantage over John Wilbur. Wilbur saying, there you go, 71. Take a look at my tail for a while as they come off the turn. Jimmy Zacharias looking at that big POW marking on John Wilbur's car number 4.
Well, John hoping to take a lot of prisoners here tonight. And the 95X slowing on the backstretch. He will be probably the first retiree from this one. Wilbur, right there. Man, they're separated by about the thickness of a piece of paper as they go into turn number 1. And into 2, there's a Win Place and Show right there down the back straightaway. Wilbur taking a peek high, taking a peek low, taking a little chrome barn application. And for right now, staying right behind us. Sparks are flying up there in 3 and 4.
Oh, they're definitely getting after it up there as they go down into turn number 1. Hanbury with a feature win here this season, working off of turn number 2. He is the only other feature winner here at the Speedway other than Jimmy Zacharias. As they work over in turn number 3, it's Hanbury, followed by Wilbur, then Jimmy Zacharias, Dylan Terry in 4th spot. In the 5th spot is Jeff Frisbee in 6th. In the runner ride, Zach Curran. So this could turn out to be a good points night for Zach Curran.
And while we're talking about Zach, we're moving up to Zacharias, who took a look to the inside of Wilbur off turn number 2. John quickly slammed the door on him, so he's going to have to go back to work. But yes, Zach Curran in that runner ride, right now running in 6th position, and certainly a way to preserve some points here tonight. The young man whose car was really totaled in his heat race here earlier. Once again, Jimmy Zacharias takes a peek on the outside of Wilbur, finding nothing there. Our leaders coming up on the back end of the pack. And as they go through 3 and 4, they'll be catching the Clemens machine and soon Curtis Cowles.
Move over flag being shown to Chris Clemens as they go down into turn number 1. As that lead trio really dicing it up as they work off turn number 2. Separated by only 0.2 of a second, your lead 3, as they're working over in turn number 3. 0.2 of a second between Tony Hanbury and Jimmy Zacharias. As that trio crosses the stripe, it's going to be 16 laps down.
Once again, Jimmy trying to get a run off turn number 2. He's got to get up there first, and Wilbur's not letting him do that. So John Wilbur not only doing some offensive driving to try and put Tony Hanbury in his rearview mirror, but he's also doing defensive driving as well to keep Jimmy Zacharias at bay. Once again, almost an instant replay of what we saw before as Jimmy takes a peek upstairs. Look at that, lead trio just separated by a car length each as they go through 3 and 4.
Dylan Terry, the rookie, running there in the 4th spot. Jeff Frisbee in the 5th spot. Jody Buckley trying to recover. He's up there to the 6th spot now. In 7th is Tom Shiner. In 8th is Cowles. So Zach Curran has pulled in. Looks like motor or radiator problems on that car as there's all kinds of steam coming out from underneath the hood.
Well, it was a nice gesture on their part to make the ride available to him, and he probably did certainly preserve some points, finishing near the end of the pack on this one. So our lead 3 going through 3 and 4. Zacharias now takes a peek to the inside of Wilbur. John's going to slam the door on him, and they'll go back into turn number 1. They're putting on a great race for the fans here. It could be any one of them that will park in victory lane. Dylan Terry with a good run too, a rookie driver running in 4th position with Jeff Frisbee behind him. Then it's Jody Buckley and Tom Shiner. High five from Gary Folk to our field. 5 laps remaining, 20 have been run. Down the back straightaway, a little bit more breathing room in between the 3. They got to get tired from battling it out the way they've been, just nose to tail as they've been. 4 laps remain, this time by Tony Hanbury, hoping to reverse some bad luck that he suffered a tough loss here 2 weeks ago. And as Tom mentioned, John Wilbur, the meat in that sandwich. John, the only one in that top 3 who has yet to pull into victory lane, but certainly more than capable of so doing. 22 of 25 up on the board. Once again, our leaders are going to come up on the back of the Clemens machine through 3 and 4. They're setting a blistering pace and continuing to pull away from that 4th place car of Dylan Terry. The twin sticks go up in the air. Gary Folk indicating this one 2 laps away from being settled. And I'm not sure if Jimmy slowed or if the other 2 ignited the jet fuel in that thing, but suddenly the gap between 2nd and 3rd is greater than it's been. White flag time, Tony Hanbury. Well, he saw that 2 weeks ago as well. and did not pull in victory lane. John Wilbur hoping history will repeat itself, and this time would be his night. Wilbur right there waiting for the slightest bobble. You often have to wait a long time for Tony Hanbury to make a mistake. He doesn't tonight, and Tony Hanbury will win here tonight. Hanbury picking up his second win. John Wilbur, a great race, and he's going to give Tony the thumbs up because the pair of them put on a great show for the fans here tonight. Jimmy Zacharias will finish in the third spot. Fourth, Dylan Terry, and a top 5 finish for Jeff Frisbee.
Well, Tony getting the Father's Day high five from his daughter down here in Victory Lane. We'll see if Tony can even breathe yet. He's taking off all the safety gear. Keeping it just 2 drivers going to Victory Lane here at Shangri-la 2 this season. A little bit of a debrief here with his crew. And here he comes. He's out of the car, ladies and gentlemen, Tony Hanbury. Tony, congratulations. 2 drivers going to Victory Lane here this year. You're one of them. Take us back through that race tonight. It was a tough one.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, we've struggled. I've had a hell of a year as far as luck between here and Spencer Speedway, and the car's going pretty good. I mean, we're not the fastest car here, and you know, as long as I can run my line, I'm all right. But if I gotta stay down or whatever, it's a little tough.
Well, they were right on your back bumper all the way. A little bumper tag going on, but that's part of modified racing to a certain degree.
Yeah, we're going to have that, especially here. The whole it's about momentum. And, you know, John Wilbur, him and I have had our problems throughout the years and stuff, but he's always tried to run me clean. I've tried to run him clean, and we get mad at each other once in a while. And same with Jimmy. I mean, he's won a lot of races. I mean, him and I are going to clash forever. I mean, he's fast. I'm hoping I'm going to be fast, and that's what's going to happen.
Father's Day here, you're getting congratulations from your daughter and your family, and your dad was very important to your racing career as well.
Yeah, he was, you know, and a lot of thanks got to go out to Dean Ripkema. I mean, he's had a tough run here this year also. We're only 3 races in. We've blown motors and wrecked a lot of stuff, and he's stuck behind us. Whatever he wants to do, we're going to do. Come back, not come back, and I got to thank him for standing behind me. And my crew, Josh Schwenk and Homer and John Casapian, my Uncle Don, Phil Slater, my wife. I mean, everybody that is here helping us, I appreciate everything.
Well, Dad was an influence on a lot of those people. He's looking down on you now. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tony Hanbury, ladies and gentlemen, winner here tonight at Shangri-la 2.
And congratulations to Tony. That's the kind of race you want to see. A nice, tight, good, hard-fought victory. Don't forget to pick up a copy of Rumble Ridge Review over in Turn 1 at the Spalding Foundation for Injured Drivers tent. So our 7-car field approaching turn number 3. Again, the reminder, the starting area off turn number 4. This time it's up to Deneen and Nurmi to decide when to go and when to be slow, and there ain't no slow in this one. Through the gears he goes. That sounded like Jerry Deneen going through the gears, and a little bit of contact at the back of the field, looks like, between Schneider and Smith, but Jerry Deneen with the early lead, and that beautiful number 11 is going to come off turn number 4 as our leader of lap number 1, with Scott Nurmi and Jim Lamoureux running second and third.
Well, Jerry Deneen looks like he's got a rocket pack strapped to the back of that car as he is just taken off. Scott Nurmi there in the second spot. That's the same car that they threw an oil belt on earlier this season and had the oil pressure go down, and they already had the motor tighten up on him a little bit. But right now out there running strong, holding off the challenges of Jim Lamoureux through turn number 1. Joe Brown right there, as well as Billy Coyle. That foursome works down the backstretch heading into turn number 3.
Well, Lamoureux took a peek to the inside of the 20 machine of Nurmi on the last lap. It looks like he gave it a little bit more juice, and at the stripe, Lamoureux taking over second spot. Now, Nurmi is out in that outer groove. He's lost third and is in danger of going back to fourth as Billy Coyle now takes a peek. Coyle to the inside over there in turn number 3 while Joe Brown is going to try and go to work on Jim Lamoureux.
So it's Jerry Deneen up front. Jim Lamoureux in the second spot. In third is Joe Brown, Billy Coyle in fourth. Scott Nurmi in the fifth spot as we continue to work around this speedway. Right now, if you're wondering, looking at the scoring monitor, it looks like that the transponder on the car number 11 of Jerry Deneen has failed. So right now, not logging the laps electronically, but Jerry Deneen very fast out there on the speedway. Scott Nurmi, however, setting the fastest lap of the season at 18.357, 98.055 miles per hour. That was a week ago.
Yeah, and I think it's important to remind the fans after the penalty incident last week that the scoring, or the tower, is actually wrong right now. Jerry Deneen in the 11 is, in fact, the race leader. Jim Lamoureux is running in second. So the what you see over there on the scoreboard, not correct in terms of running order. Jerry Deneen is our leader, Lamoureux second, and Joe Brown still with him, separated by about a half a car length. Brownie trying to get around Lamoureux to take over second.
And so just confirming with timing and scoring is that the 11 transponder is dead. It's not functioning. And they can tell when it comes by. They can see, they get a signal that there's not enough juice to make it work. So tough break. But Jerry Deneen is still up front. Jim Lamoureux in the second spot. Joe Brown in third. Billy Coyle in the fourth spot. Scott Nurmi has slid back to fifth. Dave Schneider in the sixth spot, and running out there in seventh is Rick Smith.
Well, this time by lap number 10 will go up on the board. And Jerry Deneen has been flawless in a race that may well go. I don't want to jinx these guys, but from the looks of things right now, we could have a caution-free 25-lap event for the late models. However, I believe that gap between first and second is shrinking.
I'm just taking an eyeball on that, and I think, Carol, you're absolutely right. Jerry Deneen had virtually a half a straightaway advantage on Jim Lamoureux just about 3 laps ago. Now that advantage is closed down to about 10 car lengths as they work off turn 4 this time.
Well, you wonder, is there a problem developing in the 11, or is the tires heating up and the 37's gone into his rhythm now? But the gap between Lamoureux and Brownie kind of staying steady right now, and the three of them separated by about the same amount of room on the racetrack.
We've watched Jim Lamoureux at this track now for 4 years, and his setups come in about halfway through the race.
And we have reached the halfway point, just as you said that, Tom. So Lamoureux living up to the reputation of the car, kind of coming in.
Well, he's working down into turn number 1 once again. He's knocked that advantage down of Deneen down to about 7 car lengths as they cross the stripe this time. It's shrinking as they're heading towards turn number 2 this time. It's closing ever more, and the lap car of Dave Schneider will play a factor in this one. As now Lamoureux is within 2 car lengths coming off of turn 4.
Well, we're getting racy for sure, and what is Schneider going to do? He sees that blue flag. He's going to stay to the high side of the racetrack, out of harm's way, so not a problem for either our first, second, or third place cars. They continue on, and Lamoureux will go back to work. Next time by, it'll be lap number 17 of 25.
Jerry Deneen looking for his first win of the season here at Shangri-La 2. Heads it off into turn number 1. Some sparks coming out from underneath the car, bottoming out just a little bit as he's driving it a little bit harder into those turns. Pulls away from Lamoureux just a little bit this time. Pulls away by 2 car lengths. They work around through turns number 3 and 4 once again. It is Jerry Deneen showing the way. Here comes Lamoureux. He's in the hunt once again. Working off turn number 2. Deneen, Lamoureux, Brown, your defending champion right there in the third spot. Here's Lamoureux within a car length working off turn number 4. But this is where Deneen is really doing good. He's been able to get off of turn 4 really well. They head over into turn number 1 once again. This is Lamoureux's strong spot over there in turn number 2. Down the backstretch, he's able to keep the momentum up and comes down into turn number 3. But the cars are handling differently at each end of the speedway. 19 laps are complete. It is Jerry Deneen showing the way. Jim Lamoureux in the second spot. Joe Brown in third. Then Scott Nermy running all by himself in fourth. Rick Smith running in fifth. Billy Coyle back to sixth. Dave Schneider running in seventh. 5 to go this time by for Jerry Deneen. The Little Falls, New York driver takes it off of turn number 2. Down the backstretch he runs. Deneen trying to hit his marks. He wants so badly to put that beautiful new Mustang in Shangri-La 2 victory lane. Talked to him multiple times here in the early parts of this season, and boy, he is really focused more than I've ever seen Jerry focused here at the track. He takes it down into turn number 3 this time. Jerry telling me this car is actually his sponsor's car. He has another car that's his that's back in the shop, but this car is owned by the sponsor as he works off turn 2 down the backstretch. Down again. They're going to get parallel flags from Chief Starter Gary Folk Jr. this time. We'll show 2 laps to go as the Schneider car going to be right there. It could be a factor again. The leaders coming down into turn number 1. Schneider goes up high. Lamoureux stays right with Deneen, working off turn number 2. Down the backstretch, half a car length is the distance as they go into turn number 3. Lamoureux tries to close in, kicks it down to the lower groove, coming off turn number 4, white flag. Jerry Deneen still has that top spot. They go down into turn number 1. Lamoureux hugging the bottom of the speedway, working off turn number 2. Down the backstretch they run. It's Deneen, Lamoureux, and here comes Joe Brown. He's going to make his name sound here in a minute to come off with a checker flag. Deneen with the win. Lamoureux finishing in second. Joe Brown finishing in third. Finishing in fourth will be the car number 20 of Scott Nermy. Finishing in fifth will be the car number 99 of Rick Smith. Then Billy Coyle. But wow, what a race.
We talk every week about the beauty of this beautiful Ford Mustang. You got to see it up close and personal with the flames and the beautiful lettering, and they did a very nice job on this one, putting it together. And he's coming out the window. Oh, it's a tight fit. Jerry Deneen with the checker flag in hand. What a race, Jerry. I'll tell you, you waited for a dramatic night, and that was a great race for us to watch with Jim Lammer right there. Brownie was right with you, too, but they chased you down toward the end. I don't know if you were getting slower or they were kicking up. What was the case?
I was struggling down to 1 and 2 with a pretty good push. But, you know, this Ford Power really puts it down to shoot, though. Nothing, I can't say enough for Ford and muscle cars.
Well, it's a beauty. You know, Tom and I talk every week about the beautiful car you put together, and really the fans need to come over and see this one at the end of the night, too. But you put on a great show. It's been almost 2 years since you had an interview here in Victory Lane.
Yeah, I've missed it here. Last year was kind of rough. We ended up quitting a little early in the season, but we came back with a new car, and hopefully we're not leaving for a while.
Well, let's hope not. And I know you got folks you want to thank that come with you and your sponsors on the car.
Yeah, I need to thank my father. He puts up with a lot for me. My sponsors, Seam Schufelt, Dutch Comstock, my crew, Ashley, Mark, Dad, Dutch, and my cousin Mark. He's not with us tonight. But no, thanks everybody, and thank George for putting up a nice track here.
Well, it was a great win, and let's see what they thought about your win tonight. Jerry Deneen!
And just a reminder, race fans, no racing here on Rumble Ridge next Saturday night. Both here, Shangri-La 2 and Skyview Drags will be dark for graduation ceremonies for some of the young people that work for us, some of the young people who are children of the people who work for us, and some of the young people are competitors. So again, no racing here at Shangri-La 2 Motor Speedway or Skyview Drags next Saturday night. Racing returns in 2 weeks here with a big full show of late models, street stock, Sportsman, and Pudgy's Pizza, 4 cylinders right here at Shangri-la 2 Motor Speedway.
Our field picking up the pace over there in turn number 4. Gary Falk looking them over. And Joe Snell is going to do a power move, but he's going to slam into the 33 of Summers. He's going to check up, and everybody behind him is going to check up. Summers is going to lose a bunch of spots, but Gil Sharpstein isn't losing anything, and he's got Charlie right there with him coming off turn number 4.
Well, Summers was a pinball over there in turn number 2, but they've been 3 wide back here through the pack as Summers slides back through. But that's the way you learn. And right after the green flag came out, Charlie Sharpstein was right down to his inside. We're 3 wide down the backstretch again. There's Goodwin down the inside, Chris Zacharias up high, and Charlie Sharpstein was the meat in the middle of the sandwich. Chris Zacharias still keeping it wound up on the high side. He's up to 3rd, and he's looking for more.
Well, 2 weeks ago was Chris that ran side by side with the 34 of Charlie Sharpstein, lap after lap after lap. No contact. Now we got almost 3 rows at the front of the field, running side by side. Gil Sharpstein edging up alongside the 11 of Joe Snell. They'll come off turn number 4, and lap number 3 will go up on the board, nearly a dead heat, with the advantage going to Gil Sharpstein.
Out front, it is Gil Sharpstein, that 6 7/8 car. Joe Snell down the inside. Chris Zacharias sweeps by the high side. Here comes Charlie Sharpstein looking to go the high side on Snell. Goodwin down low as they go into turn number 3. 2 by 2 for 3rd and 5th.
Well, those positions on back, and one of the cars bobbling just a bit. That is Joe Snell, and it cost him 2 or 3 spots in the process of correcting his car, and the one that got by and took over the 6th position is the 71 of R.J. Zacharias. 3 wide coming off turn number 2, and down the back straightaway, Snell is there, Ripley's there, and Bennett is there. Into turn number 1, Chris Zacharias, you recall from his heat race, he was committed to that outer groove. He likes doing what others don't. He spent a good part of the last race right up there running lap after lap, and this time he's going to try and see how it works with another of the Sharpstein brothers. This time it's Gil, and at the stripe, let's see who has it. I think Gil by about an inch.
Gil had it by about a foot as they go into turn number 1. But here comes Chris Zacharias. He takes the lead over in turn number 2. Using the outside move that he's watched Lee Sharpstein use several times. Lee Sharpstein up in the upper groove now as well as they work off turn number 4. New leader here on lap number 7. It is the 7 of Chris Zacharias.
And just short of that number, the 6 7/8 running in the 2nd position with Goodwin, our point leader, running in the 3rd spot. 4th is Lee Sharpstein. He's trying to get the nose of the machine underneath Goodwin, and he's not going to give him anything. He says, you want it, you got to find your own way to get it. And Goodwin pretty well locked to the inside of the racetrack as Lee Sharpstein now has to look to the high side. So a 4-car breakaway with Charlie Sharpstein running in 5th.
And that 4-car breakaway is going to come up and catch that 6th ride. That is Chris Bennett as he goes down the backstretch heading towards turn number 3. Working off turn number 4. Here comes Lee Sharpstein down the inside. He's inside of Jeff Goodwin. Cannot make the pass. Goodwin holds on here with 9 laps complete. Over in turn number 1, it is the 7-car of Chris Zacharias. Pulled away by 2 car lengths from Gil Sharpstein. Gil Sharpstein 2 car lengths on Jeff Goodwin. And then it's a car length between Goodwin and Lee Sharpstein. Sharpstein presses the issue again in turn number 3. Coming off turn number 4, Goodwin holds them off.
Wow, I don't know how he did because Lee was right there. And that was some great racing on the part of both of those drivers. He's going right back to work on Goodwin over there off turn number 2 and down the back straightaway. It's all about straightaway speed right now. Looks like for now, the 8 has it over the 05. Goodwin may have a little problem developing. He's bobbling back and forth up there. Not sure what the issue is for Jeff Goodwin, but he has lost that lead now trio.
Jeff Goodwin had to get up out of the groove. Lee Sharpstein was down there. Forced Goodwin up into a line that he was not comfortable running, and he got to gather it back up. It's a great job of driving on Jeff Goodwin's part, but now Goodwin has to hold off Charlie Sharpstein. Meanwhile, up front, it is the 7 of Chris Zacharias holding on over Gil Sharpstein as they head towards turn 1.
Well, in a moment, Chris is going to feel surrounded by the Sharpsteins. Already he's got 2 of them chasing him down the back straightaway. Older and younger brother with the other brother Charlie right now running in 5th. They finished 1st, 2nd, 3rd in points last year, so they certainly know their way around. They've reached the halfway point of this one. 13 up, 12 remain.
Well, Chris has finished runner-up this year. He's doing a great job, has a good ride underneath him. That car really has been strong, with the exception of week number 1. Problems developing on the Guy Summers car, or no, excuse me, that was George Swansboro's car number 1. Looks like the rear brakes are gone on that car. A lot of red coming out about both rear brakes, and that's going to bring the caution out. But it almost looked like being down at Bristol Motor Speedway or Martin, some of these tracks where you race at night, but the rotors were just glowing on the car number 1 of George Swansboro. So out of the top 6 cars, 3 Sharpsteins, 2 Zachariases, and a Goodwin. As the green flag flies, we're underway once again.
Sounds like the famous law firm of Sharpstein, Zacharias, Sharpstein, Zacharias, Sharpstein. And boy, Chris is feeling the meat right now, the meat in the sandwich, as Lee goes to the inside. Gil is leading them into turn number 3. Chris is right there, and he's already up to the top side. Lee has just disposed of Gil, and they are running 3 across at the stripe. Chris Zacharias running in the 2nd spot, but Jeff Goodwin on the low side with Gil Sharpstein top side. He just takes over 3rd, and caution coming out. And back to the last completed lap for the running order. 16 of 25 up on the scoreboard. Once again, it's Chris Zacharias and Gil Sharpstein bringing our field back to Gary Folks' green flag. And boy, the fearsome foursome going into turn number 1, literally glued to each other. It looked like Sharpstein just glued to the back of Chris Zacharias' car. Gil Sharpstein momentarily gave that inside lane to Jeff Goodwin, but he quickly thought better of it and slammed the door on him. So at lap number 16, it is Chris Zacharias leading Lee Sharpstein.
Chrissy Zach continues to hold on to that top spot, but his back bumper is literally plastered with the 8 of Lee Sharpstein. Sharpstein goes up to the high side, taking Chris's line that he was using earlier. Chris down to the inside. They drift up the speedway just a little bit. Coming off the turn, Chris Zacharias will hold on as Lee Sharpstein will continue that battle down into turn number 1. Lee up on the high side, Chris down low, wheel to wheel, door handle off turn number 2 as they keep it going down the backstretch heading into turn number 3.
What a great race again this week, being turned in by our street stock competitors. Chris goes a little bit high, and that played right into the hand of Gil Sharpstein. The 6 and 7/8 right there, waiting to slam dunk Chris Zacharias. He gets the spot. Let's see if Chris goes back to work to reclaim what he just lost. Lee Sharpstein running right there in the 3rd spot. 4th is Jeff Goodwin. Then it's Charlie Sharpstein and Robert Fink, the invader from Pennsylvania. Off turn number 4 they come, lap number 18 up on the books, and Chris Zacharias again out in that outer groove, a place he loves, but he had a little bit of contact with the tires of one of the Sharpsteins. He had to get off the gas, and that opened up the opportunity for Lee. He's up there putting some pressure on Gil.
They work off turn number 4 once again. There's 5 laps remaining. Gil Sharpstein with that top spot. Lee Sharpstein in 2nd. Chris Zacharias in 3rd. Jeff Goodwin in 4th. And in 5th, it's the 34 of Charlie Sharpstein. Well, we've got Chris Zacharias sweeps around the high side, takes the lead.
Well, the Sharpsteins were being a little bit cautious over there in turn number 2, so they didn't spin each other out. And along comes the 7 of Zacharias and takes advantage of that caution on the part of the 2 Sharpstein brothers. Gil's going to go right back to work, Lee going right back to work on Chris off turn number 2. Down the back straightaway, each running the line that they kind of prefer here. Lee on the low side, Chris on the top side. And this time by, we'll have 3 laps remaining and a great street stock feature. Here comes Gil Sharpstein again, off turn number 2. The 6 and 7/8 trying to catch the 7. And they are side by side over there, and Sharpstein getting into Zacharias. Goodwin goes around. Robert Fink goes around. He gets slammed by Bob Ripley. Also getting a piece of that, but continuing on was the 71 of R.J. Zacharias. So once again, Chris Zacharias is going to be denied a stop over here in Victory Lane. A little bit of contact with the 6 and 7/8, turned him around. Everybody else pretty much innocent victims of all of that. Well, let's see what happens now. The final 3 laps of this street stock feature here tonight. Mid-June, with the brothers Sharpstein on row number 1 for this restart. And Lee making it look easy as he powers into turn number 1. Charlie right there, though. He's not going to give him anything. Make him work for it. Joe Snell running in the 3rd spot. Chris Zacharias trying to make a late race recovery. And 2 to go this time by. Close racing at the back of the pack with Goodwin. Danielle Buchek, Gil Sharpstein. But up front, there's some breathing room between the first few cars. And off turn number 4, the white flag coming out for Lee Sharpstein. Charlie running in 2nd, then it's Joe Snell. And the brothers Zacharias, RJ on the low side, Chris up top. And Chris sailing around RJ. Looks like he's going to salvage a decent finish after all. But look at this, Charlie giving Lee a little brotherly love off turn number 4. But Charlie's going to settle for the runner-up spot tonight as Lee Sharpstein has won again. Joe Snell with the best finish for him in many years. And 4th going to Chris Zacharias. 5th, the 05 of Jeff Goodwin.
As he comes out of the car, race fans, Lee Sharpstein, another win here at Shangri-la 2. Lee, things are getting tougher and tougher out here on the racetrack as everybody's cars seem to be getting quicker and quicker.
Yeah, we got roughed up there a little bit near the end by Chris. It was getting tight, you know. And I'd like to apologize to my brother first there. He got loose down in 1 and 2, and I just couldn't get on the binders quick enough and opened the door back up for Chris again, and had to work him back over, and then didn't look like things got pretty after that, you know. But I'd really like to thank my sponsors and everybody. B&G Exhaust, PC Solutions, Pine City Tool Chuck up in the stands, you know, he's an amazing person, and my mom and dad, Mike McDonald especially, and his wife and his family. My girlfriend, you know, she helps out a lot, my best friend John, and without all these people, you know, we wouldn't be here, and thanks to the Buchek family also, we got the other car, and they helped out today, and just everybody for the effort, and you know, it sucks. I feel bad for what I did with my brother, but it happens.
Well, your other brother was on your back bumper coming off of 4 there on the final lap. Did you feel yourself get loose there in the last turn?
When I got underneath Goodwin there, he came down pretty hard. I think the tie rod broke or right front flat or something. I haven't got over there yet, but something definitely happened in the right front. And last couple laps, it was gone, you know. So we just held on.
Okay, well, congratulations on a good win, and coming on Father's Day got to be a little bit more special because your dad, big part of your racing here.
Yeah, my whole entire family, you know, my dad and his dad's not here anymore, but you know, he was the one that started the racing with us, and I always remember him, and I really can't thank my dad enough, and Mike's like a father to me too, you know, I can't thank him enough, and this one's for my son Avery also, and everybody for coming out tonight. I can't thank you enough, and hope to see you again next week.
Okay, Lee Sharpstein back in victory lane here at Shangri-la 2. So we do encourage race fans, come on down in here to the infield, stop over and talk to the folks at Mojo Photos that are underneath the white pop-up over here in the infield. Just come down and see your favorite racers and see those cars up close and personal, and maybe get an autograph, get your picture taken with your favorite driver. Again, please drive safely on your way out of Shangri-la 2 tonight and to your destination. All the dads, again, we hope everybody has a great Father's Day tomorrow. I know I will. And looking forward to a week off next week, and we'll come back at it hot and heavy back on June 30th with another great night of racing action here at Shangri-la 2 Motor Speedway. For Carol Husak, I'm Tom Cummings. Thank you for your night, and please drive safely on your way home.